Right here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, Camp Lejeune country, down east country. A kid grew up in a household shaped by military discipline. A father who served in the United States Marine Corps, and a love for a sport that most people around here would have told him was a long shot. He captained Jacksonville High School to a state 3A tournament run, earned all state honors, and then made a decision that surprised a lot of people. He passed on conventional Division I scholarship offers and chose to play at Virginia Military Institution, where being an athlete is only half the job. After VMI, he transferred to William Peace, was a standout in the Pacers soccer program, earned his degree, and a short time later, packed his bags and moved to Germany by himself to compete. He is currently playing professional soccer in the German soccer pyramid. And just so you know, he gets this God-given ability naturally. Athletic DNA is not in short supply in his family. His cousins, Drew and Justin Holiday, two long-time NBA players. His personal motto is 3 words: faith over fear. And after you hear this story, you'll understand exactly why he lives by them. I'm Steve Goodson. This is Down East Sports Face to Face, and welcome to hometown son TJ Hurd.
Appreciate it.
Great to have you, man. Great to have you. So, man, let's just start right here at home. Jacksonville, North Carolina. You grew up here, Marine Corps town with a Marine Corps dad, and a mom who was probably more vicious than your dad. But what kind of household was that, and how did it shape you and your sisters?
Yeah, loaded question. Yeah, so for me, growing up, my dad wasn't around too much. Obviously, being in the military and everything, it was a little hard always staying close and staying in touch with him. So just like you said, my mom was the bear of the family. She was
the one, man.
Yes, and she made sure that, even just being basically like not a single parent, but just like doing a lot on her own with my dad gone and stuff. Still the support's there, but she knew she wanted to make sure her kids knew how much he was there and involved and loved us, and at the same time, still push us to continue on further, even if it's going to be hard for her.
Yeah.
She always had this presence that was like, we're not just here to live, we're here to live and be better than yesterday and keep going forward. And that's something that she's always instilled in me, and I love her for it. And I still have this thing where once I make it to my next thing that I've always been working towards, okay, I'm already on to the next vision, So she always had this, you take one step, all right, what's the next 2 after that? All right, you don't want to be stagnant, you don't want to get stopped. You always just got to keep going for things.
Keep moving.
And she let sports be the way for me and my sisters as well. They both participated in soccer and various other sports. But other than that, school. She's working in the school system her whole life as well. Actually, every year I've been in school, she has been at my school, aside from middle school. So elementary school, she was working there when I was there. High school, she was there the whole time. And then even I did classes at the community college, and she was there as well. So I always kind of had that good guidance with me. And
you couldn't mess up, man, because she was right there, right?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's very much a big thing for this community. Coming from like the military town, a lot of people think we just have military people, not the brightest, not the most ambitious. I think we get passed over a lot in Jacksonville just because, we're a smaller city. We're not the Raleigh, we're not the Charlotte, and then other bigger cities outside of the state. But as you can see with the things that you're doing, we have a lot of
great stories to tell, man.
Yes.
A lot of great stories to tell.
Yeah. I think a lot of families do the same thing that my family did, but in my case, my mom, she raised us with discipline. We were told, like, treat people as you want to be treated, and then also, like, stand up for yourself, though. We can't be pushed around. We have to get what we want, but also just be a good human being, because if you're doing that, then everything else will fall in line and everything.
That's awesome.
She's given me everything,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you were a 3-sport athlete at Jacksonville: soccer, lacrosse, baseball. Most kids chasing a professional career in sports because you knew you wanted to do this. I remember you out on Jazz soccer fields, man. When you were younger, most folks chasing a professional career in sports lock you into one sport early on. What did playing other sports give you as an athlete?
It gave me a lot of things as an athlete. The physical attributes, obviously, the fitness, the ability to work hard, the understanding of what's necessary to be done. I was always good at other sports as well, I would say, but obviously soccer was my passion, and that's what I pushed for. But these other sports taught me things outside of the game, like how I need to be consistent every day, the discipline that's needed to continue to train on my own when my friends don't want to go. There are a lot of times at the Jazz soccer fields, I'm over there by myself and my friends are wanting to hang out, and I just didn't. I had time, but my time, I felt the value came from being on the field. Yeah. And it was very hard because that separated me a lot from my guys, and eventually I was able to get some of them to follow that same thing, whether they wanted to play pro or not. It's just, I feel like my mom also gave me this ability to have kind of like a infectious like desire and want to do something. And so with my friends, I was always like, yeah, let's go train before we go, just hang out, play games and stuff. We love PlayStation, Xbox, stuff like that. We're boys, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I remembered like it was at least by 6th grade, I was already like, Division I college, that's what I want. That's the goal, that's the dream. But it didn't stop there. But that was the next step I needed. Obviously, I still had high school, I still had club things to do. But in my head at like 6th grade, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old, like I already knew like, all right, we're aiming for this, so this can happen later on. Yeah.
And I don't ever remember seeing you that you didn't have a soccer ball at your feet unless you're out at the baseball field and at Little League Baseball and had a glove on you. So beyond the field, National Honor Society, Cardinal Ambassador at high school, NC Boys State, you were a full student, man, leader, not just an athlete. I got an idea, loaded question, but I got to ask, where did that drive come from?
I think it was a mix of the sports and pushing it early on, but I got to go back to my mom. Yeah. Like my mom really pushed, you're not just a single dimensional person. She's like, you have more to you than just being an athlete. You're great at what you do. Early on, like I always excelled at the teams that I was with. Thankfully, I had good players around me to help develop that as well. It didn't just come from me. It's a village. Like I was reaching out to coaches, Ray Cauley, Joey Mahalchik. Those are great coaches for me. Cam Ormsby. Yeah, two of my best friends. Yeah, they're great people, and I think I really want to give a shout to those two because middle school, Ray Cauley kept me in check the whole time. What I needed to do, how I needed to get better. Joey Mahalchik, he just elevated my game. I think the quality he comes with and like the personality he has, I don't know what it is, but there's something about him that always drew me as a player that like I need to listen very closely to what he's saying because he has so much knowledge of the game and everything. But going back to it, my mom was like, you're going to be more than just an athlete. And I think that really showed with like how she is as a person as well. I don't know if you saw, but as we were growing up, she got herself back into school.
She did, went back to school.
She just got her doctorate's degree. She didn't start college.
Just presented it not long ago.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago. Yeah. And, you know, she started her college career actually in her 30s. She graduated for her first undergrad degree with my sister the same day. It's crazy. And then now she's getting her doctorate. So
what a great story, man.
She's been the example the whole time. And
what a great story.
That's where I believe all of that came from.
That's awesome. So walk me through your high school career at Jacksonville. What do you remember? A lot of really good moments. I know you developed a lot of really good friendship, lifelong friends. What do you remember most about those years?
Jacksonville, I feel, is a special place. I know you guys.
Yeah, we're White Oak guys, but that's people. Okay. That's okay.
I have a lot of love for the White Oaks.
Two of my best buddies, Joey and Dave Miller, both coached over there. So.
White Oak. I got a lot of love over there. So many of my close friends were at that school while we were there. But Jacksonville, I felt, was a special place. I'm sure every school has their own stories about what makes them tick. For me, Jacksonville's spirit, Jacksonville's pride. I'm sure you guys could even feel it when we had games.
Oh, absolutely.
We had the Cardinal Crazies.
It was different. It was a different environment, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about when you have a school and a community that is pushing behind you, whether they know you or not, but you're a part of that
Yeah.
school. Oh, the pride behind it. I remember very vividly. I played with my freshman year. I was one of two freshmen on varsity, and that year I was like getting good playing time. And then the first game where I scored goals was with CJ Sparks, and
Great player.
great player.
With NC State and
Yes,
played at
yes.
NC State. Yeah.
Yes, I will say he was one of my probably role models during that whole beginning aspect of my career. Still is. But that game just so happened that I scored 2 goals and he scored 2 goals, and I think it was the first round of playoffs, I think, against West Carteret or someone like that. And I had the fans like Cardinal Crazies. Kate Spade was one of the big ones there at the time. Bella Nunu. They were all like cheering like, oh, only players with 2-letter names like are scoring today. Blah, blah, blah.
That's great.
But it's just the community that came with Jacksonville. It was life changing, and I think it pushed me to continue forward, and it made me really enjoy the game and love
Well,
it.
great career at Jacksonville. You played club with the Wilmington Hammerhead group obviously out of Wilmington at a high level, travel soccer. Again, great career. And then here's the decision that sets your story apart. You had the Division I offers from like UNC Greensboro, Appalachian State, great, really good programs.
Yeah.
And you chose VMI instead, a place where being a student athlete, like I mentioned early in the intro, is something completely different, where being a student athlete is just one piece of the puzzle. So why VMI?
This is the most common question I get, like even today. Like
Yeah,
after
really? Okay.
everything's over, this most common thing I get asked every day, because as you said, like I had the other offers. There was a few more out there that were very interesting, and I went on other visits as well. VMI, senior year was a very emotional, and it was just a very big growth year for me.
Yeah.
That season, we lost 1 game. Unfortunately, the 1 game we lost that year was to White Oak.
Was the White Oak? How about that? Yeah.
On senior night. So we had like a 23, I think, and 1 record, and we were ranked nationally. So going from then, we went to playoffs, made it to, I think, the regional final or the regional semifinals. Lost to Chapel Hill, unfortunately. And so that was not the best. And then the next few weeks, I had actually state playoffs for my club team with Wilmington. From then, that was around the time I was making my decision. In the state finals and semifinals, I scored in both games. Coaches at both of those games, from UNC Greensboro, Appalachian State, and a few others, Wingate University. Yeah, that was like the developmental time. And then in that time frame when things were dying down and I had to kind of figure out what I wanted, military was always a big aspect. We used to live on base for my first 10 years when I came. I was going to Parkwood only because my mom was teaching there.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school on base, but I lived on base, and so the military is always a big part of everything. I didn't get to see too much because with my dad always gone, and then when he was back, he transitioned out pretty quickly. And then my mom just kind of wanted us, I think, kind of to stay out of the life of moving around a lot and everything. So it painted a decent picture in my head of like what that lifestyle could be like. It also showed me, it correlated with the sports that I did. The discipline, that's the biggest thing, the hard work. And the last thing, and I think that's what's kept me going and getting into Germany today, is like the will to not give up.
That's awesome.
And the military aspect, I was not big on it at the beginning. But when I went on my visit, I talked to the coach. He had these big plans for me. He really believed that I could change the program. And when I went over there, I went on my visit, and then I talked to my mom. She did not have any say on where I was going. She said, I want you to decide fully. I don't want to change any of your opinions. I want you to decide. So she left me up with an Amazon page, actually. I remember this so vividly. And she was like, order a hat. Whatever you order, you can have the paper out, and we'll bring it out for signing day. So my mom, even on signing day, didn't know until like probably 10 to 15 minutes before signing day happened. And so it was actually a really cool moment because she left it up to me and like wanted me to make that decision. And prior to that, I had went on a visit to Queen's University as well. Yep. Very good in Charlotte.
In Charlotte, yeah.
And she really believed I was going to go there, because the time I had when I was with those boys, with a lot of international players, and I got to train with them as well, did very well in the scrimmage with them. She really thought I was going to choose there or Appalachian State because I had good relations with both. And at the end of the day, we know how colleges and universities are, and I wanted to prioritize, the lifestyle that I wanted to live afterwards.
Yep.
And I wanted to continue to learn the discipline, continue to be a hardworking person. And it's not that I didn't trust myself, but I thought that this would elevate me in a way that no other place could.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that they promoted a lot when I came on that visit, is that you're going to come here, you're not going to like it. That was the first thing they said.
Yeah. I mean, they're setting expectations right off the bat.
Yeah, they have to, because you're going to be there at least for the first, semesters, 6-7 months or so. It's very difficult, but they told me from the bat, like, it's not going to be fun, but you're going to get a lot from it. And what you're going to get from it is a community afterwards that is going to look after you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. The VMI Alumni Association is massive. And so they're very big parts of government and other private sector jobs and stuff like that. So a lot of guys go out of there living the dream.
Yeah.
I chose VMI to, I knew what I wanted to pursue. It might not have been exactly a military career, but I wanted to feel out that direction because I had the ties here and everything like that. And I also knew it was going to keep me on track with football or soccer.
Yeah.
At the time of senior year, like, obviously you have like senioritis and stuff, and you do your things and everything. And I enjoyed my senior year because it was Jacksonville. Jacksonville was just a very interesting place for it to be, especially when you're leaving and everything. And so I made it a priority to remember who I was when I started high school and before that, and really the discipline, the hardworking nature, and it's what my mom developed for me over those years. I don't think she realizes how much, but that influenced my decision to choose that. I wanted to stay on track. I wanted to prioritize being fit, being active all the time, and just like expanding my horizon past like knowing how to kick a ball.
Yeah, that's great.
I learned a lot.
And it's and it's beautiful up there. Spencer, my daughter, actually went up there on a visit to Washington and Lee.
Right across the street.
Right across, literally one street separates them. On a volleyball visit, she decided obviously not to go there and just go to school, but beautiful area up there. So then came the transfer, man. And a lot of people didn't understand because they didn't understand the logistics, but you transferred from a D1 program to a D3 school, William Peace University, which, little backstory, my wife, Beverly, attended when it was just Peace University, or Peace College, actually, and it was an all-girls school at the time many years ago. But most athletes chase that highest level. You went in a different direction. Talk a little bit about that and making that decision.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to this, but in that time frame, it was COVID.
Yep.
So that changed a lot of things. We got sent home, I think, in March or so that year from VMI. There's a lot of little stories I could tell you about VMI that made that very difficult, but we got sent home, and then the season was in question for next year and everything. So then during that time, I'm not sure if
and you were, and I don't mean to interrupt you, were you a sophomore or junior then?
That was going to be my sophomore year.
So the spring was your freshman year? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries. So yeah, I was there, and COVID happened, and then it was the summer break, and I really didn't know what was for me. I got past the hardest part of VMI. I think this is also a very big misunderstanding from people, is that they think I left because it was very challenging and I couldn't handle it.
First year is the toughest year at any military institution, whether it's the Citadel, one of the academy schools, or VMI, which is very similar to Citadel. I went down to Citadel on a recruiting visit when I was in school to play football, and everyone said if you can make it through the first year, then you got it.
Yeah, exactly. And like I made it through the first year. I did everything I needed to. Had my ups and downs and my own struggles, but I made it through it. And then I was already through almost all of my sophomore year at that point. And so there was nothing about the actual school at that point. But I also realized how much, through everything else I had to do, I had military trainings all the time on top of a very rigorous school. and just constant rules to live by every day. And so with the mix of all of that, I learned a lot about myself, but I also saw that, obviously I'm at a military school, soccer's not the priority. And I think through the struggles, I realized how much I actually love the game more than I did as a child, and I just needed to pursue that more. And so unfortunately, once I left, I don't think people know my timeline too much, but instead of transferring right away, I went back. I came back here, and I was here for a semester at Coastal Carolina, got my associate's degree, finished up everything because I had all my classes, and I was just training and working at a cafe here. And during that time, I got very much into the gym, so I was developing different ways to play and everything. So my timeline was very hard because being in Jacksonville, all my friends were gone at the time, and so it wasn't like I had people to train with. I didn't have too many connections out in Raleigh yet. Everybody was already playing their own school seasons while I was home, and so I didn't have much resources at the time. So there was a very hard point for me where I was prioritizing work over soccer, and then the gym and work were over soccer at that point. And then actually it was Coach Cam Ormsby, who invited me out to a training with his U16s or 17s. First time like really getting competitive again on the field, and I was like, yeah, because I always had the aspirations to go back and play, but I wasn't doing it. And I went to this training with kids that I knew just because soccer community they know. And I was like, all right, this will be, chill, be a breeze. And then I do this training. Oh man, Steve, it was awful. Yeah. The worst I've ever played. And I was playing with kids who knew me for me back then. And it was very hard for me emotionally and
probably a very humbling experience.
Very much. I played with these kids and kids are getting past me with a breeze. I'm struggling, I'm tripping over the ball. It was a very tough time. And after that training, that really reset everything. I was like, I need to scale back on the work. I can keep the gym a priority, but the field is always the most important thing. And so that's when, the VMI stuff kicked back in for me. And I was like, if I want to keep doing this is where I have to make the change. And going forward from there, training was constant, gym was constant. It was 5 a.m. workouts, and then it was straight from workouts to the field at 7. And then from there, I was from there 7 to about 10, hanging out at the field, go back, eat lunch, do it again for another 2-3 hours later on in the day, and then finding pickups and anybody I could train with. And then from there, I got picked up for that following summer by one of the top recognized leagues in the U.S., the USL2. And I played semi-pro over that summer in Durham. And
with Tobacco
Road, yes.
Tobacco Road FC, okay.
Played there, good and bad, but I was back into very high quality soccer, and it showed me a lot what I needed to work on, what these guys are doing, how these guys are performing at the college level, and more. And once I did that, I was in Raleigh already, and I had a few friends there. Karan Williams was there, who's been my buddy since I was a little kid. He played with me in youth and everything. Yeah. He was at William Peace. He went there straight out of high school. And just to know, I actually received contact from William Peace when I was in my recruiting process. But that was one of the schools I never even bothered to respond to. Yeah. And because I was on this idea that I needed to go Division I, that was the only way to do it, as many people believe. And going through this process, I played the semi-pro league. His coach reached out. Very good friends of mine now. I still talk to them, Ryan Huber and Ozzy Peralta. They helped me so much. They gave me so much faith and trust, and it made me realize that Division I, it's amazing. It's great. It gives you all the benefits. You get the top training, the top players to play against. But in that process, it made me realize that if you can get Division I, absolutely, 100%. But I also realized the playing aspect, just having trust and having the confidence and playing every single minute of every game, that can develop you more than anything. You don't want to go to Division I and sit the bench or play 20 minutes a game. I played more minutes than our keeper, who was goalkeeper of the year, and keepers never get subbed off. Wow. I played more minutes than him, and I got all the awards. I got player of the year, midfielder of the year, things like this, because I had a really good team around me as well. But like the minutes that I got from there, the trust I got from my coaches, I think that's what also propelled me forward to continue playing and everything. So the long answer summed up, going to Peace was not my priority, but I also realized that was a chance to put me in a competitive and structured environment that would put me back on track to go and play further on afterwards.
That's awesome. So you did play at Peace, then you played some at again. Did you maybe went back to Tobacco Road FC, and then Lionsbridge FC? I know in Virginia, and then you made that move to Germany. Walk me through that moment that you made that call, man.
So there's a thing I developed during that time was persistence, and there's a few things also in there that happened. Actually, when I was at Peace, I did want to transfer back to Division One. I actually received an offer from Penn State at the time, and Temple University, both in Philly, and the only thing that stopped me really, which I think was a blessing at the end of the day, was because I left VMI how I did. I would have had to sit out a year. I would have had a red shirt.
Yeah.
And so my overall decision was I need to play now rather than waiting a year and, delaying whatever. And who knows if I even play at those schools.
Yeah.
Every player has quality, but not every player is valued at every school or coach they go to. But yeah, going on to Germany, I had a few stints with Tobacco Road. Then I went to Lionsbridge. Then I actually went to FC Buffalo, played in New York for a season.
Okay.
And then I came here, and then I played at Fayetteville. Fayetteville Fury was a new program that was starting up, and I headlined that a lot, which was not a great team, but a great environment. And from there, it's just the constant playing that kept me going and kept the quality up. And I finished the season with them, and I remember I was lost.
Yeah.
That year, I used all the money that I had worked for, I saved, and I went to camp after pro combine, team invitationals. All of this I'm having to pay for. It's not being sponsored by the team or anything. They're not inviting me. I'm just trying to take every opportunity I can. I went to California, Denver, New York, Florida. Like, I was going all over the country trying to just find just a little way into the game. And then the very last one I did in San Diego, the very last one I did, a scout reached out to me just afterwards. And he was like, hey, I ran across your profile. I watched you a bit while you were in California. I actually know your coach from William and Peace. And he was like, I reached out to him after I saw you, got your profile, talked to him a little bit, and he was like, I'm very interested. He was like, I don't have something solid for you, but I can give you an opportunity. And so going from there, I was like, I don't know how this sounds. Going to Europe is always a hard thing because there's a lot of programs and things that are promoted on social media where people are, or scouts.
Is this real or is it a scam?
Yeah, exactly. Where scouts are like, I could bring you out here for this and that. You'll get paid, blah, blah, blah. It depends on the team. You'll get housing.
Was this guy with the TSV Meerbusch?
He was one of the guys who is a scout for them.
Okay.
Yes. He wasn't with the club, but he was one of their resources that he used.
Okay.
And I've seen some of the players actually that he's sent over there, and I've not personally friends with them, but I've seen them through the college game. And so, 3 weeks before I went to Germany is when I decided. I finished my season with Fury in Fayetteville. I went to all these camps and everything. And at the end of it, I was like, I want to put this all out there on the table. If this is a scam or if this isn't real, it is what it is. At least I put myself out there and gave myself that chance. And so, I decided 3 weeks before that I was going to go to Germany. I had to talk with my parents and everything. I was like, look, I've tried everything, and this might not work, but I really believe in it. He's talked to me. We've had a lot of calls about it. I've seen a few videos, blah, blah, blah. I want to try it out. And my family, who's always been ones to push me further than I've ever thought I could go, they were like, all right, let's do it. They were like, I don't know either, but let's do it. Because we see what you're doing. You're putting in the work. It's not just talk.
Yeah.
You're training still while you're in between clubs. You're playing for a semi-pro team who they weren't paying me. They were giving me housing, and I was having to figure out the rest.
Yeah.
So I was still living below my means.
Yeah.
But they were like, we see that you want this so bad, and it's not going to be a fulfilled life if you don't fully go after what you want and at least try. And
so you do.
Yes.
And you go there and you sign your first professional contract.
Yes.
What was it like holding that in your hand, man? Well, talk about that. What was, was it like a surreal moment?
Unreal. Oh my gosh. Like, I played all my youth, obviously, and I played through high school, I played through college, and I played semi-pro. I did everything beforehand. I went every route you could think of and every combine you could think of here. For that moment to come, Steve, man, it was, it happened, and I didn't believe it until like signing the paper.
Yeah.
Like, I was out there, I had trained
You're
with the
actually,
team.
I'm getting paid to play soccer.
Yeah, like it was unreal. And it might not have been like the dream I had as a kid where, all right, I'm going to sign at 18 or even sign in general and like life's going to be great. I will say like I signed in the lower leagues. So like it wasn't like massive, you know, but it was something.
Oh, yeah,
it was my
absolutely,
first start.
man.
And so to go out there to get an opportunity and for it to actually work out how I was hoping, it was unreal. And I called my mom and I told her, and more so than like being proud of myself, I felt proud like for my mom because I knew she wanted it just as much, if not more than me, because she was the one who was always there, experiencing me going to training, coming back at like midnight from the fields, like no lights or anything, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just coming back from the field, coming back from the gym. Like, hearing her, how excited and proud she was of me, like that was the real contract that I was signing. It was the commitment
awesome.
I gave to her.
That's awesome.
So I was really happy. I can't explain the emotions and the time. I'm just grateful for the support and the family I had behind it.
That's awesome. So you're playing in the German, not Bundesliga, but Landesliga. Landesliga, sixth tier of a pyramid with over 2,300 divisions, where promotion and relegation happens at every level. That's awesome. That means every single game has real stakes.
Yeah.
Your team can literally move up or down based on results for a complete season. So for folks that might be watching this show who've never experienced that kind of system, what does it feel like to take the field and play in that sort of environment where knowing that game is going to have an impact on your season, which could have an impact on that team moving up or moving down?
It makes a lot more pressure, for sure, especially as an American going over to Germany. I would say as a soccer player, you don't receive the most respect as an American. They love Americans, I would say, at least from my experience. But in terms of soccer, like if we mess up, it is worse than any other guys messing up. Just because like soccer is just now getting super big in America. And so put a lot more pressure on that. I've been on both sides of the game with the semi-pro leagues beforehand, being on the top end and being on the bottom end. But when you're there, like you get relegated, and that changes everything for you, because now that changes the whole structure of the team, the club itself as a whole, finances, all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing on the other side. If you get promoted, all right, your benefits are going to go here. And then if you extend your contract or the team moves up in a league, like everything changes. And so like once you're with a squad and you find out where you are, like whenever you do take the field, like you have to make it your best every game, and you have to stay focused and concentrated. And so like the games there, a big difference for me was the whole season is roughly between 36 to over 40 games a year, because it's a full August to June, July, around there. And then there's cup games as well in between. So you're going to have to learn to be focused for that long and keep yourself healthy that long. And there's no really off period. Because
it's a job. It is a job.
Yeah.
It's a job. Yeah.
So even our off season, like since I've been home, like I've played in the game and I've been training on my own and stuff. Like I can't just come here, stay off for a month, and then fly back and expect to be ready for it. Because if I come back and they have new signings, which they do, I'm also switching teams this summer. And once I do that, there's a whole new set of players I have to learn, new coach I have to learn. Also with the German language, I'm having to get through on that on my own as well.
Well, maybe not on there. You got a little help, right?
I do have a little help, actually.
You got a little help. We'll talk about that. Talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about you're switching clubs, because now you're moving. You've been through a couple clubs, and now you're going. I guess when you go back, is it Hilden? Is that how you pronounce it?
So actually, I played Hilden. Yes, VfB Hilden. I played with them, and it was a rocky year. We have different tiered teams. Actually, our first team got promoted this year. They're going to 4th League.
Oh, okay.
Which is very, very good. In Germany, at least in my area of Germany, 4th League is considered like, I don't know if you know the Bundesliga teams, but they have Borussia Dortmund's second team in there. Fortuna Düsseldorf is in there. Schalke, like very big clubs.
They're in the 4th division you're talking about.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And so like you have very big clubs in these leagues where you play one good game against them and like your whole life will change. There's so many stories where even 5th League, 4th League, you have a good season and like out of nowhere these guys are getting signed to the top clubs. Their second team maybe, but then instantly like if they do what they need to, they can get pulled up to the first team in the 1st League. Yeah. So that's another reason why I looked into Germany and was very interested in it, because the opportunity of being able to even just have a coach witness you in a tier that it might not be seen as big for Germans, because that's what they live. They know all these leagues already. But as an American who oftentimes I believe the American mentality is just very ambitious.
Yeah.
That's just, we're workhorses, you know? So having just that opportunity to play in these leagues, your life can change for overnight. And obviously you have to put in the work before that. Overnight success happens, but it just takes one game to really push you forward. And so that's what really drove me to that. Hilden, yes, that's where I was playing this season. We didn't have the best year, but I'm transferring over to a club who's actually a partner club of Schalke.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
that is another big thing. They have really good connections and everything, and so I'm interested in that. I'll be officially signed like July 1st.
Yeah.
So once that comes, that can be said. But yeah, it's another team right now, currently 6th League, but they're a very good 6th League team, and they just move players. They're a feeder team.
Wow,
and so that's my dream. It's to go forward with them and see what can happen. Maybe stay with them another year or two. But if something big happens, that's the dream, is to go as far as I can.
That's awesome, man. So let's shift gears. We're going to talk about family, faith, and leadership. So faith over fear, 3 words that follow you everywhere. Where does that come from? Is it your faith, the Marine Corps upbringing, or that disciplined upbringing, or a specific moment that changed you, or is it all of it together?
I have to say it's all of it together. So actually, while I was in college, another kind of cool aspect of my journey was me transferring to Division III was seen as both good and bad. I think a lot more negative from some people. But actually, I was one of the few athletes who got to really take control and use NIL as one of like the first people to do it as it first came out. And I received sponsorships from soccer.com.
Yep. Building that brand, man. You're building that brand. I like it.
And so I actually got signed to an agency while I was at Division III William Peace, and that's unheard of.
Yeah.
And that agency, they wanted to push me forward. They saw I was starting to make content, soccer content on TikTok and stuff like that. And when they talked to me, they said, we want to help you become the most authentic you. We don't want to make you into something you're not. If there's any brands that you don't associate with, we don't want you to work with them. But we also want you to show people what you really believe in and who you are. And so they gave me the task to develop what do I live by and what do I want to be. And I think really it comes from everything you said, as well, just my mom. It goes back to her. She always told me if I wanted to do something, I can do it. And she got very much into her faith and religion. And at the end of the day, my faith, my belief in myself, and the support I had from them, faith over fear became like, I need to go for what I want. And it might be scary, it might be hard going to over the seas and not speaking the language and not knowing what's going to happen or if this is even a real opportunity. I have to have more faith than the fear of, this not working out.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who oftentimes they won't bet on themselves. And yeah, I loved the game so much. I knew that I had something in me to go further. And yeah, at the end of the day, faith over fear was what brought me over there, and betting on myself and believing who I was. And I wouldn't have got that again without the family, and there's other support people who were there throughout the years. But my family always had that faith in me, so why not have it in myself?
That's awesome, man. So you've been a team captain at every level, a student government leader, involved and committed everywhere. Leadership just kind of finds TJ Hurd. What's one leadership lesson you've had to learn the hard way?
I would say patience.
Patience.
Because
that's a tough one, man.
That goes.
We
that
want everything now.
Everything.
Yeah.
That encompasses my whole entire journey as well.
Yeah.
As a leader, whenever I was selected for those, which again I was very blessed to. I was with very good players everywhere I was, and so for me to be able to be selected as somebody to represent the team and be like the guy who's going to talk with everybody, the refs and coaches about things. I would have meetings with my coaches all the time about like tactics and different players and like trying to be as much as I can because I love the game so much. And I think patience was the hardest one because most of my career I was always on a pretty successful team.
Yeah.
Wilmington, we were the first Eastern Regional National League team to compete in there. We played in a league where our club games were never in North Carolina, ever. And we had to travel from state to state.
Yep.
And so we were winning that. We won states against a very good North Carolina FC team who runs most of the state as well as a good club. And then, other teams I went to, Lionsbridge, we were ranked number 1 in the nation for the semi-pro leagues. So I had a lot of success growing up, but then patience is the biggest thing, I think, because not only for my journey to continue forward, I had to be patient with getting the contract. But as a leader, when you're in those moments and your team's not doing well, or maybe you're not even doing well yourself. I had many games where sub me off, coach. But, I had to remain a leader, be patient with myself, learn how to develop the skill to, okay, things are not going to always work out. How am I going to react to that? And so I think patience encompasses everything that I've done or lived by. And to move forward, to get to this point in my career, to have the understanding of other players that we are humans, we go through things. And even though I'm training every single day because I have the ability to, the freedom to, other players are going through things. And I have to understand that not every player can perform every single day.
Yeah.
I can't perform every single day. And, you have to have that understanding in order to connect with people to make them play better as well. And also with your coaches. I feel like a lot of the game, in a lot of sports, you have to understand the person to get the most out of them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so I think patience is something that is hard to develop. It takes a lot of time to develop.
You got to be patient.
Yeah. And so, I would say that's probably one of the harder lessons that it took for me. But I think I learned it at a good gradual pace.
That's great. 2 questions left. So what does the next chapter look like for TJ Hurd? And more importantly, what does success look like on your own terms? That's the first question.
Yeah. So success. I learned a lot through this journey, and what I've been able to do over the time period, it was always to play in the top league.
Yeah.
That is still my goal. That will always be my goal as long as I'm playing, and even afterwards I'll think about it, But I think really success can be defined as a lot of things, and it is whatever you make it.
Yeah.
For me, for instance, the scout that brought me over, he used to tell me all the time, he played in Sweden. I think he played a little bit in the U.S. and stuff, and some other smaller countries, Croatia and stuff. But one conversation we had is, I can see my story already as a success because he retired at 24 or 23, I think. And I've played further past that.
Yeah.
That could be my success. But for my personal story, I would really just say my success is overcoming every time saying no.
That's awesome.
Yep. I
That's
actually
great.
have a list on my phone. I don't look at it too much now since I'm in Germany and I have other things to look towards. But I still have a list on my phone. If I could show you, it is all the combines I went to, the coaches that were there, the scouts that were there. And for the longest time, it was my phone background because I had a list of coaches where I could tell you it was the best performance I've ever give. And it just skipped over. There was one season where I went to this combine and I was almost selected. I was selected and I got contact, emailing back and forth with the San Jose Earthquakes in MLS. And then just dead silent. It's just after we were talking everything, I was very excited, dead silent.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think my success is just the perseverance I had. I think it's
That's
the
awesome.
will to just continue to keep going forward. Obviously, at the end of the day, my biggest dream is to go to the highest league I can.
Yeah.
And whether that's in Germany, whether it's somewhere else, my priority right now is Germany, and I do want to return, and I do want to continue on for however many more years I can continue playing.
That's
and
awesome, man. That is great. That is awesome.
It's everything I want to do. I just want to be the best version of myself, the best player I can be. And overall, I think the journey is the most important part I've learned. I used to hear that all the time from coaches and scouts, like, it's just about your journey. And I never understood it at the time because all I was like, okay, my journey, yes, but I want to play first league now. I want to play first league, second league, whatever country it may be. I want to play Champions League, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was what I always thought it was. And now I'm in a beautiful part of my journey where I'm not satisfied. I don't think I ever will be. Just that's the type of mentality I have with playing. But I'm also content with how far I've gotten, and I have a lot of things to look forward to. I have a new, very good relationship, and she pushes me so much.
And she's helping you speak German.
She's helping me speak German as well. And I think people often, especially myself, I forget the other aspects of life because of how much soccer takes from me. Like right now, I'm glad to be home and on vacation, but she's here with me. She knows I have to train. I have to still go to the gym. I have to still be active, and because this is what I love.
Yeah.
But in terms of success, I think my success is like figuring out that like this game is so important to me that it's brought me endless joy from of other aspects of life, not just on the field.
That's
and so
awesome.
I think that's the biggest success I have is realizing that and her helping me see that as well.
That's awesome. So last one, and I want you to speak to the camera. And I want you to speak. There's going to be kids that are watching this thing, man, that live here in Jacksonville or they live in our community. Maybe they're watching this and they love soccer. Maybe they love football. Maybe they love basketball. Maybe they love whatever. But the big thing is they have a dream, and they don't fit, and it doesn't fit in that expected path. What do you say to them? And talk to the camera for this one, man.
Yeah, I'm sure this could reach a lot of people, but Jacksonville, this area, Onslow County, a little extending areas, like I think we're overlooked a lot.
Yeah.
And it's hard to have that belief in yourself when you don't live in a big city. You don't live in Raleigh. You don't live in New York. You don't live in Miami, LA. Those places, those kids grow up with dreams because they're surrounded by it constantly. But for me to come out of here, I have a lot of great pride in that. And yeah, I just want to say for like the kids or anybody who's watching, you don't have to be a kid. You can be my age or older. Whatever you want to do, like have the faith that you can do it. I think my journey is simply one that I just never gave up. And I think none of you should either, because anything is really possible going forward. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. Everything outside of what you're doing is just an excuse. And so you can push yourself as far as you want to go and you can do what you want to do. So why not try it? Don't waste your life and play it safe. Always bet on yourself and, you know, have that faith over your fear.
That's great advice. So TJ Hurd, from the hallways of Jacksonville High School to the pitches of the German soccer pyramid, this is what it looks like when faith beats fear. He didn't take the easy road. He didn't follow the map everyone expected him to follow. He chose discipline over comfort, purpose over prestige, and a belief in something bigger than that moment. And he's still going. TJ, I'm glad you got to come home for a little while. And thank you for taking a few minutes to stop by and share your story. We're pulling for you if you don't stop, brother. I appreciate it a bunch, man. I appreciate you. For Down East Sports Face to Face, I'm Steve Goodson. We'll see you next time.